rolling. Good morning, everybody. It's Jonathan Harmon with the J. Harmon Home Team, powered by Keller Williams, with my friend Dr. Gloria Bonner here.
Good morning.
We've been working on getting this scheduled now since, January or so?
Or so.
Yeah, maybe even before that, right? It's been a little bit.
It has.
You're just so dang busy helping everybody else that it just took us a while.
I'm proud of you. You're growing.
We are.
You are growing, and I'm so excited to be a witness to your growth as a citizen of Rutherford County.
Well, thank you.
I see the growth in you as a father. You are an amazing father.
Thank you.
And you're always going to be a teacher, and you're teaching so many people.
And see, this is exactly why we're interviewing you. I'm blushing here. And I'm going to tell them real quick how our relationship would have started, okay?
Okay.
So many moons ago, I was an elementary ed major at MTSU, and I had to do a practicum. I did two of them. One at, I think at the time it was called Mitchell-Nielsen. And
Yes.
is that what's it called now?
It still is. We
Okay.
have Mitchell-Nielsen Primary and Mitchell-Nielsen Elementary.
Is that the one directly behind campus on Greenland? Or what is that one called?
No, that's the Discovery School.
And what was it called?
Reeves Rogers.
Reeves Rogers.
Yes.
I knew it was two names. I just couldn't remember which two names. That's where it was. I did one there, and I did
Okay.
one at campus school.
Right.
At Pittard Campus School.
Okay.
And so in getting set up for that, I had to come in and talk with your office. And then fast forward several years, and I got a master's in business ed, and you helped set up the student teaching for that.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
fantastic resource there on campus. And that's how I got to know you at the beginning. And then, years elapse. And I get involved a little bit with the Main Street organization.
Sure.
And you and I reconnect through there with Kathleen. And then we've been buddies since. And then Brett turns around and joins your Rotary Club.
Rotary Club. So we're always going to be connected, Jonathan.
I know it. I'm okay with that, by the way. It's good to be associated with good people, And so let's talk real quick about you and your history and how Dr. Bonner came to be the Dr. Bonner.
Oh, wow. Well, listen, and I'm excited because in 2 days, I will be celebrating my birthday.
Yeah?
No, one day.
55?
1 day. No. I'll be 69 years old.
No way.
August 28th.
Well, happy early birthday.
What
Cheers.
an amazing journey. Thank you. Hear, hear. And I grew up in Murfreesboro. I remember the Rutherford Hospital. And fortunately now I serve on their board of directors. Can you believe that?
How crazy is that?
So
you were born there?
I was born there.
And now you're on their
And
board of
now
directors.
I'm on their board of directors.
That's like an alpha omega kind of thing, isn't it?
Let's hope it's not the very end.
It's not quite omega, right?
But as you know, I am a product of Murfreesboro, Rutherford County.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was raised by two amazing parents, and I think about, my mom is still living, and if the Lord wills, she'll be 89 years old, October 14th.
Wow.
So we're just excited for her. But my parents were a powerful influence in the community in which I grew up in.
Sure.
And that's the Patterson Park community.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the Bond Street projects. So Bradley Elementary, Holloway High School, Patterson Park, all of that area was very influential in my growth and development.
And that area has blossomed, and it just continues to blossom.
It has, and I'm so proud when I hear tennis balls on the tennis court, because my parents were the ones, when we were growing up, that taught the kids the tennis.
Oh, really?
Tennis. And we had to be good enough to compete in Nashville at Hadley Park.
Oh.
We also had swimming pool there.
Yeah.
And my parents taught swimming to kids.
And what an indoor pool they have now. That facility is beautiful.
I know. And here's what's interesting. See, I've lived so long now. Mayor Joby Jackson appointed me on that committee to refurbish Patterson Park. So that's how we were able to convince taxpayers we needed a swimming pool because of the legacy of swimming there in that community.
That's fantastic.
And so it's just been such an exciting
I've already
journey.
learned stuff, ladies and gentlemen. This is spectacular.
It was an outdoor pool. And there were special days, and you could go into the pool with tops from Coca-Cola bottles. But I have just had a rich experience growing up. Started at Bradley. Now, our principal was Mrs. Emma G. Roberts. She was the first principal of Bradley. And I was in the first full class of Bradley Elementary when it opened in 1956. So we started in first grade and we completed 8th grade there.
Oh, wow.
So once you complete 8th grade, then you go to Holloway. And that was really exciting. But I had great experiences at Bradley, wonderful teachers. My first grade teacher was Miss Sadie Jones. My second grade teacher, Miss Bertha Winsett. My third grade teacher was in a wheelchair. Her name was Miss Lily Bell Whitaker. And she had such a powerful influence in our lives. I can still remember the scripture, O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. I learned that from Miss Lily Bell Whitaker.
Wow.
And then I had 4th grade Miss Ola G. Hutchins, and 5th grade I had Miss Cotton. She was a teacher from Nashville, from Tennessee State University, and we all wanted to be like Miss Cotton. Plus she was the music teacher.
Nice.
Then I had Miss Susie Rucker, 6th grade, and had Miss Martha Kennard, 7th grade, and Miss Gray in 8th grade. It was a great experience.
So I can still name all of my teachers as well. And it's so funny because it's obvious that they had impact on you to be an educator, as educators, to create an educator. And it's the same for me. And, you know, it's just weird to me when people can't remember all of their teachers.
I know.
And then, but there's so many people that are like, yeah, I went to school. You know what I mean? And that's the extent of the conversation. But that seems to be more the norm rather than to be able to sit here and say,
I know.
It's interesting.
And you can remember all the great qualities of each of those teachers.
Oh, my 2nd grade teacher, she was mean as a snake. And I mean, it was the only time in my life I ever got an F in 2nd grade because my handwriting was so terrible. I got an F in handwriting. And it's still terrible, by the way. And but I remember the structure and the rigidity of it. And because of that, I gained it. There was and I didn't realize it, of course, at the time, but an appreciation for structure. And then it was balanced with, you know, my 1st grade teacher. She was a disciplinarian like you wouldn't believe.
Right.
But then my 3rd grade teacher was that lovey, huggy,
oh, wow.
you know, and so it was like this perfect...
balance.
Exactly.
There's a balance there.
So...
like bookends.
Yes, exactly.
And when we went to school at Bradley, we had to recite a pledge every day. And we started the pledge with, upon my honor, I will do my best to uphold the ideals of Bradley Elementary School.
I love it.
Isn't that something?
I love it. That is fantastic.
And then years later, Mrs. Roberts, who became my mentor as an educator, sent a copy of that pledge to me in handwriting. And that is what I have framed and hanging in my office today.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's just a treasure.
It is.
Just a treasure. And then, of course, high school. You know, those high school years, fun years where you're working on establishing your identity, you're creating lifelong friends from those experiences, and you're getting involved in all of those extracurricular activities.
Sure, you're honing what has sort of been molded, and now you're going, okay, is really what I'm interested in.
That's right. That's right. And we were known for that great marching band, the Holloway High School High Stepping Marching Band.
Oh, yeah?
And I played first clarinet in the band, in the marching band, and also in the symphony.
Wow.
So just
So you really are multi-talented. Do you still play the clarinet?
I don't. I donated my clarinet to Bradley Academy Museum.
Gotcha.
And my family's grateful that I did that.
I bet you could pick it up, and within a day, you could be
Oh,
right
no.
back on it. You could be high stepping down
Oh no,
Church Street. It'd
no.
be spectacular.
Oh, no. But those were great days. And see, our colors were red and black.
Oh, okay.
So, and here's the thing about Holloway. It started really in 1927, and it closed. We were the last class to close Holloway, 1968. There were due to integration. So whenever we were a part of any parade, people would just flock to see us march, and it
wasn't like Central, was it?
It was. You know, there were only 2 high schools in Murfreesboro, Rutherford County. Central High School on Main Street, and then Holloway. Then it was called High Street, but now it's called Highland Avenue.
Yeah, and then other than that, in the county, you had Smyrna High School and Eagleville.
Well, even then, students from Smyrna were bused to Holloway. So if you lived in Cannon County,
pre-integration,
or yes, at Walter Hill, Halls Hill Pike, which was called Shiloh then, it did not matter. You
even
were,
Cannon County.
Yes, you were bused to
No
Holloway.
kidding.
So
Separate but equal, not really all that equal.
Not really equal, but what a great opportunity. So here's what I did with our 50th year anniversary. I hosted an all-school senior prom at the Embassy Suites and invited all the classes back, and we had a ball. Over 400 people came in from all over the country. So it was exciting.
That is awesome.
To celebrate that rich legacy.
Yeah.
The football team, it was like a state championship team for African Americans. We've had amazing, it was such a rich experience. People like Wilma Rudolph ran on the track of Holloway High School from Clarksville during her high school years.
You are kidding.
Yes.
I just got chills. That's awesome.
And we have one of our students, Robert James, a former principal with Rutherford County Schools, who was an all-pro football player with the New York Jets for 9 years.
No way.
So just great people.
Now, when did Holloway reopen?
I cannot remember when it reopened as an alternative school, but prior to that, the main facility where the classrooms were and the office, the cafeteria, was demolished. It was unannounced within the community. And when the word got out that the bulldozers were there to demolish the main building, our fathers got in trucks and ran up to the school to salvage all of the high school pictures that hung on the wall.
So they didn't even clear out?
No, nothing.
You've got to be
So
kidding.
we lost all of our trophies, all of those things, the records, student records, but were it not for our dads in the community.
Tell me there's a book somewhere about this history.
I know. That's something we need to work on.
Yeah, Frank Caperton is watching, by the way. Do you know Frank?
I do.
So I think the Historical Society needs to take a project on.
Well, Frank was there Saturday. We had the unveiling of the historical marker to commemorate the rich tradition of Holloway, and Frank was there.
See, I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yes.
And it needs to
be recorded. It needs to live on.
Absolutely.
It's a living history.
And you know, Holloway now in its current incarnation is an invaluable resource as well.
It is.
And I was a teacher at Blackman High School, and it's so interesting perspective and perception. I remember when I was in high school, and it was like, oh, they're going to get sent to Holloway, and it's
Right.
like it was a punishment.
Yes.
And in some ways it's a reaction to whatever that student presents. But the reality is now it is a resource.
It's
and
a
it is
valuable resource.
and some kids, that is how they're going
That's
to be
right.
successful.
That's right. And I love working with the principal, Miss Sumatra Drayton. And one of my former students is now assistant principal there, Dr. Joel Rowlett.
I didn't know that's where he was.
Yes, he's there.
Yeah.
So
he was a math teacher when I was in high
that's
school
right.
at Smyrna.
That's right. So I just
I didn't know that's where he
enjoyed
was.
working with them. And last year I had the privilege of attending the prom, Holloway High School's prom at Doubletree Hotel.
Nice.
So we still stay connected. But as I said on Saturday, one of the things we've got to do is bridge the gap between old Holloway, because there are a lot of Holloway High School Trojans still living, and we love our school. So we're going to work on bridging that gap so that the students can gain a different appreciation for who we are, and help us to gain a different appreciation for what they need to help give them an extra
Sure.
boost.
Yeah, because there's some parallels there as
Yes.
far as I guess maybe the way society at the moment
Yes.
views the students at that school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's what was amazing. Holloway High School was named after a local attorney, Mr. E.C. Holloway. And my mom, even at her age, remembers that the Holloway family would always come to the Holloway High School athletic events. So on Saturday, during the commemoration activities, we had invited the Holloway family. There were 4 generations represented.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
How
cool.
exciting. So I've suggested gently to John Thomas Holloway, who is local, suggested that maybe we should sponsor some scholarships for our students who attend now and make it possible for them to continue their post-secondary education.
And I think this is super important, and I so appreciate that you're sharing this, because what makes a community
Yes.
is common history,
Exactly.
right? And to be able to make that connection, and let me see if I can form what I'm trying to say here. A lot of times, the students that get sent to Holloway,
Right.
They tend to feel marginalized. They tend to be like, well, this is my last chance kind of thing.
Right.
And for them to realize, man, there is a rich history.
legacy
You are
here.
part of something
Yes.
so much bigger than you.
That's right.
That the vast majority of people aren't even really aware of.
That's right.
Right? And to be able to connect and be proud of the school that you're
Right.
at, and be, to go out and to say, hey, I graduated from Holloway.
Right.
And somebody to go, oh, and they go, oh no, oh is
Yes,
the right answer. Like,
exactly.
that's awesome.
And that's the story I tell them. I share that story with them all the time, because they not only represent Holloway 21st century, but they represent Holloway 20th century.
Yeah.
And we love our school.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
So we just encourage them to walk in their greatness.
That's right. Well, I'm fired up now. What are we going to do? Let's go do something about it.
We are. We're working on it.
Hey,
We're working
count me
on
in.
it. Okay.
I might be a Smyrna graduate, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. So,
Yes.
all right.
It's
so,
exciting.
Holloway High School.
Right.
You are a high-stepping clarinet player,
I am.
and then you go to.
I go to MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University.
That's right.
In 1968. It was, and I felt so prepared because we had outstanding teachers at Holloway High that always instilled in us the importance of being prepared in the subject area. And then they taught so many valuable life lessons. So it was just a no-brainer, because I lived on First Avenue, which is about 2.5 blocks from Middle Tennessee State University.
Right.
So
I mean, you're practically in President McPhee's front yard now, or whoever the president was at the time.
And the president at the time was Dr. Mel Scarlett. And we became such good friends, even during the time that I worked there, but especially as a student, because, you know, in the 60s, that was the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. So we'd go and protest in front of his yard, and he'd come out at 2 o'clock in the morning with his little pajamas on and his robe, and he'd let us sing all those We Shall Overcome songs and be so calm about it, and he'd let us get it out of our system, and he said, now, well, are you done now? Will you go back to bed so we can talk later?
We'll talk in the morning. Thank you for the lullaby.
He was so instrumental in
That's
the
good.
success of the integration on the campus, and just the right person for that presidency at the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he
That's
never
awesome.
overreacted. He was always a listener.
Isn't that kind of like the big stories from the civil
Yes,
rights movement?
that's
It seems
right.
like they're always surrounded by overreaction and I guess a lack of truly intelligent listening and talking.
Yes,
you
that's
know?
true. That's
Like,
true.
I mean, the reality is it's really not that difficult of a problem, other than the fact that humans made it a difficult problem.
Exactly.
It's really kind of simple, you know? There is not a difference here, right? I mean, let's just start from there.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
That's right. Let's
We're
just start
all
from
in
there, and this
together.
gets really simple.
Yes, yes. And we were taught that even at Holloway High. My principal was Mr. Collier Robert Woods. And he was the last principal who went on during integration to be an assistant principal, either at Riverdale or Oakland. I can't remember right now. But his daughter and I were best friends. And the experiences he provided for us to feel confident in making sure we were prepared to go to college. She went to Vanderbilt. She got a scholarship from Shell Oil Company to Vanderbilt and majored in nursing.
Oh, wow.
And I attended MTSU on scholarship and majored in education.
And so, was it the influences, knowing your first grade through? I mean, is that which one? Tell me which one was like, okay, this is who I want to emulate.
They were all someone that, you know, there were qualities about each of them. I had a math teacher. She was Mrs. Herline Finch Scott, and she just took me under her wings. Then I had Miss Kennard Beeman. She was a sister. Miss Sophie Kennard was a sister to Miss Martha Kennard, my 7th grade teacher. And Miss Beeman became my business teacher. And she always taught us you've got to type at least 52 words a minute. And she would take us to UT Knoxville to compete. With all the other high schools then. And then I had Miss Pearlie Mae Martin, who taught us home economics, Mr. William Butler, who taught us civics, and Mr. Woods, our principal, also taught us algebra. He was a genius when it came to algebra. So we were so prepared.
Yeah. Well, so I'll tell you some of my MTSU stories, and talking about being prepared. Literally the first class I ever sat in at MTSU was a Biology 100 class with Dr. Sarah Barlow.
Oh, yes.
You know Dr. Barlow.
Oh, I know her well.
And there's 100 kids in this class, right? And I walk in, and first of all, I'm overwhelmed by the fact that I'm sitting in a 100-person classroom. And then I look down, and I see Dr. Sarah Barlow on my schedule, and I look at the book, and she's the author of the stinking book. And I'm like, what is going on? This is going to be so hard. But I had Miss Morales, Julie Morales at Smyrna High School was my biology teacher, and she prepared me exceptionally well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we didn't always see eye to eye in the classroom because I was kind of ornery, as you can probably imagine. and I'd take full responsibility
Those
for
are
that.
my most fun students.
All right. Well, I don't know that I was her most fun, that's for sure. But I sat in the class, and to Dr. Barlow's credit, she's a phenomenal instructor.
She is. And she's my husband's favorite instructor.
Yeah.
They just have a special bond.
She's great, and she still shows up to all the things, and her and Mr. Barlow are they're just fantastic human beings. So,
exactly.
Anyway, so that was my very first college class, and my very second college class was Intro to Mass Communication with Larry Burris, Dr. Burris.
Okay.
And now he is a character.
He's amazing.
He is a character, and I can't tell you exactly the words that he used because this is a family program. But he came in, and it was an honors class, and he starts out with a lesson on the First Amendment. And he says, what is the First Amendment? And there's 20 of us in there, and somebody spoke up. And he's quite intimidating in front of the class. And we say, well, it means that you can say whatever you want. And he says, oh, really? and he launches into a tirade that includes every word that you should never say. And he goes, so does it really mean you can say whatever you want? And I'm telling you, Dr. Bonner, we're all flabbergasted. We're all sitting there going, and he goes, so what does it really mean?
Not really,
right?
huh?
It was a fantastic lesson. And his point is, you can say what you want without government repercussion. That doesn't mean you don't get societal and other types of repercussions.
That's right.
And I mean, the point was exceptionally well taken. And I'm sure it was for shock value as well, just to say welcome to college.
That's Larry. That's Larry. We were together last week at Hobby Lobby.
Oh yeah. He was a great instructor and so energetic in there.
And he's not retired.
No.
Can you believe it?
Is he a department chair or?
He was at one time. He's just always been in leadership roles, even with the Board of Regents system. So
gotcha.
We just he's highly respected among his colleagues.
Well, I very much respect him as a professor. It was quite the lesson. I mean, to think that that is one lesson that I'll never forget. Anyway, so.
Well, did you ever have Jan Hayes, Dr. Jan Hayes in education? Well, Dean Hayes, Coach Dean Hayes.
The famed track coach.
Yes, the legendary Dean Hayes.
That's right.
I had Jan and Dean, okay? And
wait, that sounds like a musical group, doesn't it?
Sounds like a musical. They are just an amazing couple, and they've been a part of my family for 50 years or more.
Wow.
Still connected to those two.
That's awesome.
So I just love them. Jan Hayes was such a phenomenal instructor. I believe I took 5 education classes from her.
Wow.
And about that many from Dean, because see, Dean was not only a coach, he was on the faculty.
I didn't know that.
It is currently health and human performance, but in the department, physical education department.
Gotcha. Now I had Dr. Terry Weeks.
Yes.
Terry
and I went to school together.
Oh, what a great instructor!
And had the honor of working with him.
He was a National Teacher of the Year, right?
Yes. Around 1988 or 89. But just a phenomenal person.
Yeah.
And really, not only that in the classroom, but he was also exceptional with accreditation. So we worked together with accreditation for teacher education.
Wow. Yeah, great instructor.
Yes.
So, all right. So, you go to MTSU. You go through the civil rights movement there.
Right.
After graduation from MTSU, where does Dr. Bonner go?
I get a job with Murfreesboro City Schools. Mr. Baxter Hopgood was the superintendent at the time. And initially because I graduated the summer of 72, all of the job positions were taken. And so there was an opening as a teacher's assistant. I was assigned as a teacher's assistant at Bradley Elementary School for about 5 days. That's during the in-service training. And then there was a position that came open for 5th grade, and that's how I got assigned to Mitchell Nelson Elementary under Bob Crowder. an exceptional principal. And Mitchell Nielsen was an outstanding school, had the lowest teacher turnover in the system.
So you were very fortunate.
Everybody wanted to be there. Yes.
That's awesome.
Had outstanding students, just great students. And I still enjoy watching them continue to grow, even now. Like Greg Tidwell, he was my 5th grade student at Bell Jewelers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Alan Farley, the election commission, Sandy Moss, Mitchell, Jack Mitchell's wife. You know, you never forget your students. You always remember them. And they are as adorable now as they were then. We had fun. I
100% believe that. So at what point did you, so you're teaching 5th grade?
5th grade. I taught 5th grade at Mitchell Nielsen for 7.5 years. Now, I met my husband on campus at MTSU.
I was going to ask
Coach Ray Bonner. At the time, he was a member of the legendary Mod Squad. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. So he was instrumental, along with his best friend, Edmund Miller. They were instrumental in integrating MTSU football. They were the first 2 African Americans to scholarship in football.
No kidding.
At MTSU.
Wow.
Now, let's go back and let me share with you the history of integration of athletics at MTSU. Dean Hayes comes to MTSU and recruits a young man from Holloway High School. Robert Lee Mallard was the first African American to receive a scholarship in athletics, track.
Really?
At MTSU. Yes.
Wow.
Rich history. But I met my husband.
So Dean Hayes is a maverick too,
He is a maverick. And his wife was. You know, I gravitated to Jan because, not only because of her teaching style, you knew the content when you were done, but also it was a comfort zone for me because she was so receptive to teaching the diversity at the university. She embraced it, she and Dean both.
And even in an institute of higher learning at that time, I'm sure there was still some discomfort, even amongst the most enlightened.
Exactly.
They might have been like, ooh, I'm not sure.
Right, especially if you're the only African American in most of your classes.
Sure.
So you look for people in leadership roles who would embrace your presence. And Jan and
not
Dean,
just tolerate.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. They did that for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
So I sought them out every chance
I
I
bet. Yeah.
So they're still family to us.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
So I met my husband during my graduating semester session. It was summer school, and he had another year left in his eligibility for football. But here's another Holloway connection. My senior year at Holloway, we graduated on a Thursday evening, May 23rd, 1968. There was this young man who was a professor from Minneapolis, Minnesota, who was our keynote speaker because he and our principal were classmates together at Tennessee State University. His name was Professor Arthur C. Hill. I didn't know it at the time, but 5 years later, I met his nephew and married him.
That is awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
There has to be some kind of hand of intervention in there, huh? What are the chances? That's fantastic.
I know. But Raymond is, my husband is from Franklin County, and I never saw him play football. He was the first African American to be drafted in the NFL from MTSU.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So
what you're saying is he's kind of a stud.
Well, he sort of tries to convince us that. as he's taking out the trash or washing the dishes, right?
He's a stud with limitations.
He's
How about
regular,
that?
but he's had an amazing influence, and that's another person you should interview.
Yeah.
Because after my years at Mitchell Nielsen, once he finished playing football with Detroit Lions, he went into the Navy, he and Edmund Miller. We then decided that Atlanta, DeKalb County, Georgia, which is about 12 miles outside of southeast of Atlanta, we took a job, teaching jobs there with DeKalb County.
You know that my first teaching job was in Cobb County?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I taught at McEachern High School in Powder Springs.
Oh, wow.
Sure
Oh, wow.
did.
It's an exciting area,
It is. It is.
Isn't it? So we accepted jobs there. He became a coach at Columbia High School. And you should interview him about the impact that he still has on the lives of students there.
Yeah.
My job was to just keep them fed, just to keep them fed and keep them focused on academics. His kids were blue chip athletes, and everybody in the state of Georgia, if they wanted to really prove themselves athletically, they had to beat Ray Bonner's team.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And he sent kids to all the top schools in the country, like University of Georgia. He sent so many kids to University of Georgia, they called him Ray Dog.
I love it. I love it. That's fantastic.
Yes.
You know, you just touched on something that's so, it was relevant then and it's still relevant now. Mm-hmm. You spent your time keeping kids fed just so that they could focus.
Exactly.
And you know that they teach the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Right.
And so many kids are in survival mode
Those basic
all
needs,
the time.
Those basic needs.
You know, and we're doing a lot of stuff now within the two school systems here in Rutherford County with, you know, summer feed programs and the essentially survival packs that they can take home on weekends.
Those backpacks with the food in them.
It's crazy that's an issue in 2019, isn't it?
Even now. But it speaks to the humanity of this community, that we are still, and we have a heart for people who are in need. So it's just an honor to be able to provide those resources
it is
in every way.
And it's really eye-opening just to like, again, even know that that's an issue that has to be addressed.
Exactly.
Because I mean, you can't expect a kid to sit and focus on a concept when their stomach's growling and has been growling for 3 days.
That's true. And that's the beauty of the breakfast program, when the schools can get the funding to make sure that kids have access to food, especially in the mornings and even during the summer. The chow bus, I love to see the chow bus riding throughout our community.
It's great, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
So, all right, so you're in DeKalb County.
In DeKalb County, because I earned my bachelor's degree from MTSU, my master's degree, as well as my specialist degree. So I had started working on my doctorate when we relocated to Georgia, which meant I would commute in during the summer and take a full load each year.
Oh, wow. So you commuted from DeKalb back to here?
During the summer months.
Wow.
And enrolled in school at Tennessee
And so
State
where's your doctorate from?
From Tennessee State University.
Gotcha.
It was a new doctoral program, so a lot of the courses that I needed for my degree were not developed yet. So the dean at the time was Dr. Doug Simpson. He later relocated to TTC in Texas. But he would put me in his car and take me to Vanderbilt and enroll me in the courses at state rates. So until the courses that I needed were developed on campus at TSU.
So you were a trailblazer too, huh?
Well, I was, it was just a great experience. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
And I thought then, because you see deans and they're sort of sitting on a throne, and you think, that's the kind of dean I want to be. So
that's what went through your mind, huh? So you were already
so personable.
Yeah.
And he'd say, well, we don't have the course you need. and he'd go over and negotiate with Vanderbilt.
Isn't that fantastic?
It is.
There's nothing worse than, sorry, we don't have that.
Right.
And that's where the conversation stops.
Exactly.
You know, how about we don't have that?
Yeah.
But since you want it, we're going to figure out a way to make it happen.
We're going to partner with another institution.
Yeah.
But I owe a lot of my success in higher ed, because I came back in 1985 to MTSU to Jan Hayes again.
Mm-hmm. I see a theme here.
Oh yeah, we maintained contact whenever I needed answers or assistance and support with accreditation in Georgia. I would always contact her, and she'd walk me through the standards and the elements related to the standards, and it was always a win-win. But Dr. Ralph White, who was the department chair in Ed Leadership, contacted me through the influence of Jan Hayes 13 years after graduating undergrad at MTSU. And when he called the principal's office in DeKalb County, the principal came to my classroom and said, "There's a Dr. White on the phone who wants to speak to you." And I immediately thought, Dr. White, is my mom ill? And when I ran to the phone, he was a gentle giant. He was always tough but tender.
Yeah.
And he said, "This is Ralph White from MTSU." I said, "Oh, Dr. White."
Thank goodness my mama's not sick.
That's right. That's right. And he said, "I understand you always wanted to be in higher ed. I've got an offer for you that you cannot refuse." And I talked it over.
This is right about the time The Godfather's come out, so it wasn't anything like that, right?
But it was an opportunity to return back to my alma mater and take a teaching position. And that's when we started in '85 the developmental and remedial classes. Mm-hmm. So they were assigned to different departments, and the study skills component was assigned to Ed Leadership Department.
Okay.
And that's how I was able to come
Teaching someone how to learn.
Yes.
Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good. And so you teach at MTSU.
Yes.
And I guess you kind of work your way up
amazing
the
mentors.
ladder.
Amazing mentors. Mm-hmm. And I just started observing all of the great qualities of strong faculty. What were the skills that they demonstrated in the classroom? Because, university faculty are evaluated in 3 areas: quality teaching, community service, and research or creative activities.
Sure.
So I always kept my annual evaluation instrument right there on the wall. Here are the things I'm going to be evaluated by every year. And I kept that focus. If I'm going to be evaluated high, I've got to make sure that it's a part of my vision every day.
They told you the puzzle pieces, you just had to put them together.
Yes, put them together.
Yeah.
But I also took the initiative to observe great faculty members like Bob Bullen in the foundation classes. And Terry Weeks and I were new. We were new, and we would sit and talk for hours and strategize. How are we going to teach this concept? What examples are we going to use based upon our experience in the classroom? We just were able to figure it out by observing great models like Jan Hayes, Race Bergman, Mary Tom Berry. There were just outstanding faculty everywhere.
I mean, really, isn't that what teaching is all about, is modeling the behavior?
Those great behaviors.
And then you can turn around and model them to the next generation and so on.
Yeah, and they were open to have to allow us to sit in their classrooms as they were teaching. And then once...
That's a big deal, because I know even when I was being observed, I was a little apprehensive about it, and a little uptight, and to have that comfort level and to be confident.
I know. But they were so good at what they did.
Sure.
They were so good at what they did. And they just took us under their wings. That's what it's all about when you think about it at the end of the day. How can you help one another be better at whatever it is we do?
I love that. Mm-hmm. So let's jump ahead. Okay. So first of all, I got to ask this question.
Okay.
How many students have you taught, do you think?
I have
just rough estimate.
Oh, I have no idea.
Tens of thousands? It's got to be, right?
It's in the thousands. It's in the thousands.
And that's not even the ones that you've helped after you got out of the classroom necessarily to get into the classroom.
I know, and I still help them. Even now in retirement, here's what I do. Kids and their parents, through the barbershops, the hair salon, through the hospitals, through my colleagues in organizations, they have their students to contact me because their kids still need support in navigating the post-secondary experience.
No doubt.
It can be very intimidating, and I was there in that environment for 32 years as an employee.
You might know a little bit about it.
But here's the beauty. Even on campus at Motlow, not just MTSU, when people see me coming with the kid, they know I need their help.
Yeah.
And they'll do it. They just stop what they're doing to help me.
But let's be really honest about that, Dr. Bonner. The fact of the matter is you have helped so many people and done it with a smile.
Yes.
And done it because you genuinely love helping people.
Right.
That anybody that is unwilling to help you is just a bad human being. I mean, it really is that simple. If you turn Dr. Bonner away, it's because there's something wrong with them, not with you. They've got an issue that they need to seek counseling and get worked out.
And here's another fact. They're all in the positions that can help me now.
Right.
They're all in admissions.
That's right.
They're all in financial aid.
Yeah.
They're all in academics.
You should start charging for that. You could be one heck of a door opener for people, So let's talk organizations for a minute.
Yes.
Because I know you're involved in several.
Oh, yes.
And so let's kind of go through a list. What all are you involved in now?
Now, I cannot name them all, but I am just having a ball. I serve on boards. Okay, and these boards are service-oriented boards.
Sure.
So it's all about giving back now and
building the community.
Yes, and access, making opportunities, creating opportunities for people to have access to quality of life experiences.
Sure.
So I'm on the Center for the Arts board, and we just had a phenomenal program, production of The Wiz. It has taken me like 10 years to get The Wiz here.
Yeah.
And it was a sellout every show.
Oh,
In
yeah.
fact, Patience
I mean, that's a pretty tough play. I mean, with the singing and the extreme dance. I mean, that's a big production.
The creativity was phenomenal there. The creativity. So I
just had Ease On Down start in my head, by the way.
But we have all these great productions because my daughter is a professional actress, and when I taught in elementary school, I had this belief. Every student that I work with at the elementary school level should have an opportunity to perform at least once that year. So it didn't matter whether they were in an acting role or if they were the narrator or if they prepared the props for the play. It's just everybody should have an opportunity to shine. And even in DeKalb County, with, I taught an interesting group. They were 7th and 8th grade combined. So it was in Avondale Estates community. So you had kids from very affluent professional homes, and they bussed in minority kids from Scottsdale, from marginal communities, underrepresented, underserved populations. And the only thing that I could determine that would work to put them together where socioeconomic did not matter was through performance, because you can be a character, you can become something without having to be judged.
And then it's a camaraderie thing, right?
Yes,
this production was
exactly.
awesome because of
It broke down the
everybody.
barriers.
Yeah,
It broke down
it's the
the
same.
barriers.
It's the same concept as integrating military,
Yes.
sports teams, because we all have a common goal.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And you're working together as a team.
Yeah.
And the parents, and because I then instituted, because they were old enough, dinner theater
Nice.
in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Because the stage is always in the cafeteria.
Yeah, yeah.
And the parents were so impressed by that. They rallied around that concept so that they could continue that concept in high school. And that's how we started the drama program in high school level.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So the Center for the Arts, I'm on the St. Thomas Board of Directors with the hospital here, and I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much about service and helping people who need access to quality health care.
Sure.
I'm on the Parks and Rec Commission. That is such an honor because we were raised up in a community where athletics was important. My mom and dad had 5 children, so that was our entertainment. We didn't go on a lot of vacations,
Right.
but we went to all the nearby parks, and we loaded up that car like the Griswolds. We had swim gear, tennis rackets, badminton, the baseball, the softball, the bats, and we would spend the whole day in the parks.
That's fantastic.
Henry Horton, all of those great parks.
It is interesting
Yes.
that that is a hot topic these days here in Murfreesboro, access to parks and rec and
Yes.
things like that. And I think that it's easy to sit back and go, oh, we don't have money, but and that's a simple answer, but it really does mean more
Oh, wow.
than just spending
Yes.
money
Yes.
on those facilities.
Yes, because see, now for our family of 5 children, the great memories we treasure with those days.
And it connects you to the community.
It really does.
Sure.
It really does.
That's that deep root. One of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm on the Journey Homes Board, so affordable housing, access to affordable housing is really very important. I serve on the Greenhouse Ministries Capital Campaign because we've got this great project. There's a model that we're working on, and we're trying to raise $6 million. We're almost there. So we're
Wow.
excited about that in the community where my mother and dad grew up. It was called Simmons Alley then, but we have this project where we're going to develop a community with 17 units for males in helping to give them a boost in life and training them how they can become productive citizens.
Outstanding.
Yes, yes. So the others I can't remember because...
Well, you got an event coming up.
We've got an event coming.
Let's talk about that.
Yes, yes.
We need to hear that story.
All right. Oh, wow. What a journey. What a journey. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2012. And it was treated with a lumpectomy and radiation. Great medical team at the time. So let's fast forward 2014. I was diagnosed with a cancerous polyp in my intestines. So I had to have surgery for that. And then I retired March 1, 2017. from MTSU. After 32 years, I retired as assistant to the president. So July 21 of 2017, my dear friend, Dr. Wayne Westmoreland, my surgeon, diagnosed me with breast cancer. And he said, Gloria, it's aggressive and it's invasive. So there was no other choice but to go ahead and attack it head on. And on August 29th, 2017, I went into surgery for a double mastectomy, and immediately following that, chemo treatment. Mm-hmm. So this year, 2 years later, I am the honoree for the Wine Around the Square initiative, and I've had a ball. Hear, hear.
Cheers.
Because it has been a life-altering experience, but also it gave me a second chance at life. Second chance.
And it's so easy. I've had so many friends that have faced, similar or dissimilar, but kind of the, relatable at least. And, some have lost their battle.
Right.
Some have won it, but just the toll that it takes on you physically, obviously. But emotionally and mentally, and it's just...
And it's not just to the individual.
No.
It has an impact on the family and your community.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So what I do now is, because every day through that season in my life, it was unpredictable. The surgery, I did not know what to expect. I did not know how to accept the challenges of during that journey, because once you come out of surgery, you have these tubes connected to your duct glands, and you think, oh my, because usually surgery, you're stitched, but it's not that much maintenance required. Mm-hmm. This required a lot of maintenance. So it required my daughter to put her career on hold for 2 months.
Wow.
With all the auditions and just everything, relocate back to Murfreesboro. My husband, who had retired from DeKalb County, also, although he was working at MTSU, it was a big challenge because he was working full-time as a coach. And I'm just grateful that the two of them made my recovery their priority. And because I was too weak to do anything, and when you're going through it, you're just praying for God's strength. Just get me through the next moment or the next day. And that within itself is a miracle, because you're just so weak. So there was this 8-month period of time where I had to depend on so many people. And can you imagine the students who contacted me from everywhere? Do you need me to come to take care of you?
Yeah, let me cut your grass. Let me... Right.
Yes. What is it that you can eat? Because if we can get it, we will bring it to you.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's just been an amazing journey. And here's what I do now. People who are diagnosed, especially young females. I'm working with a 27-year-old now who is going through that season in life. I'm also working with a 33-year-old who is a mother of 3. She has a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and an 18-month.
It's just not right,
Yes.
is it?
And she was diagnosed with a triple negative BRCA gene, and that's very aggressive. But at 33, so what I do is help them to navigate the journey on a daily basis. Contact them. Now the 33-year-old just had her first dose of chemo yesterday, so I'm 24/7. Whatever it is that I need to do, that's what I'm are willing to do that.
Well, it's no wonder you're being honored. So when is the Wine Around the Square?
Wine Around the Square. We had the Power of Pink luncheon last week, and I want to thank Dr. Sidney McPhee, my dear friend, and his wife. Mrs. Liz McPhee.
I remember when he was hired. So when I started at MTSU,
Yes.
Dr. Walker was still the president.
Right.
And you know, he moved to
Southern Illinois University.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Illinois.
Yes.
And then they named the library after him. Dr. McPhee
yes.
comes in, and you know, Dr. McPhee's an interesting fella. I mean, he's
phenomenal.
He's this. I mean, if you just look, he's this small guy. He's always got a smile on his face. He's loud. He's got a funny accent, and he is flipping brilliant. I mean, he really is just brilliant.
Yeah.
And what he's done for our university,
we celebrate his genius.
Oh my gosh.
Celebrate his genius.
What a guy.
Doesn't he make it look easy?
He does. And he makes it look fun.
He does.
He is having a good time.
He does. And to have the honor to serve on his cabinet
I bet.
and observe this on a daily basis, it nothing compares to that.
Because you think that when he's in public he's putting on a show, right? But he's not, is he?
That's who he is.
It really is who he
is.
is.
And I've had that opportunity all throughout my life. Even when I was in training as a dean, I got to work with Bob Aker, who is Dean Extraordinaire. Mm-hmm. And to have the honor to work with individuals like Bob Aker and Sidney McPhee, Jim Walker also. And unfortunately, we lost Jim Walker at age 66 in 2008 to prostate cancer.
Yeah, I remember that.
So cancer is real.
Oh, very much so.
It's real, and it's devastating.
It is, and it's inexplicable. I mean,
Right.
you look at certain situations. I have a dear friend that passed about a little over 2 years ago, and you look at it and you just scratch your head like, why him?
Exactly.
You know, why?
I lost my dear friend in 2015. She was diagnosed in stage 4 with breast cancer. It was in January of 15, and March of that same year she was gone.
And I hate to say it this way, but you know, you look at other people and you're like, it really shouldn't have been him. It should have.
Right.
You know, not that you would wish it on anybody,
right.
but still,
Yes.
why
Exactly.
that person?
Exactly. And I thought about that too when I received my diagnosis. And because my mom is still living, I would not want her to have to go through that. My 2 sisters are still living, and I have a daughter. I did not want them to have that experience. But fortunately, as I work with the young people now, my job is to help them to understand that cancer doesn't have to be terminal.
Right.
And when you have the right team working with you and you do all the things that you're supposed to do, that with the right support system and a lot of help from the Holy Spirit, we can get through it. We can do it.
And you know, I heard a guy one time, and I can't remember who it was, but you know, the whole question, why me? You know, and you were sort of brushing around this. Why not you?
Exactly.
You know, if it is you, then what are you going to do about it?
That's right.
It's not your fault, but now
That's
it's your
right.
responsibility.
Let's make this a win-win.
Yeah.
Let's make it a win-win.
So, all right. So when's the Wine Around the Square?
Wine Around the Square is Saturday, September 21.
Okay.
And I'm just honored to think about this. They're going to shut down the whole downtown.
And everybody's going to raise a glass.
Me.
Everybody's going to raise a glass. And it's going to be the good stuff too, I bet.
And it really is designed to raise funds for individuals who cannot afford the treatment or the luxury of a mammogram even, or transportation back and forth to the chemo center for treatments.
So it's the practical stuff.
Yeah, prescriptions.
Sure.
You know, the
Oh
prescriptions
my word, they're so expensive.
are very expensive. So it's designed to help out And I just salute Patty Marshall for having the vision to make this
Where do we
a
get
reality.
tickets?
You can get tickets through St. Thomas Hospital. They have a wonderful website.
Okay.
And also, I'm featured in the VIP magazine.
As you should.
Carrie
VIP
Beth.
is a very important person.
Carrie
So
Beth is my former education student. I just love her, and she gives the best hugs, and she's the editor, and she did an amazing job. So
Well
there's
deserved.
a wonderful, wonderful article there with the contact information
Okay.
listed
Great.
as well.
well, and we'll post the website in the comments on this as well. So,
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And let me say to you, I am so proud of you and all that you do, because you are you epitomize the essence of what it means to be a contributing student and citizen.
Thank you.
We're always learning, aren't we?
We are always, and when you stop, that's when you're
die.
in trouble.
That's when you
right.
die. Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am. I agree 100%. Well, and I have managed to somehow, by the grace of God, by sheer luck, whatever it is,
It's God's grace.
it has to be, to surround myself. My team is amazing.
Yes.
And they enable, each member of the team enables the other members of the team to focus on what they're good at.
Right.
And to capitalize for not to get too altruistic, but to really enable us to go
That's right.
and do the work.
Well, that's the thing. That's a quality I learned from Bob Aker, is give people the room to develop their strength.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And it's interesting. There's this whole perspective about within education and corporate training and things like that, about, do you develop your weaknesses? Do you try to compensate by developing your weaknesses? And now kind of the more accepted practice is no.
Right.
You outsource your weaknesses.
Exactly.
And then you develop your strengths so that you become
Yes.
phenomenal at one thing.
It's a strength-based model.
Yeah,
and
it's
it
so
works.
much better.
It works.
I will never have good handwriting, ever. I don't care how much I practice it. I don't care how much you teach me. It's just not going to happen. So if I need to write something beautifully, I have Taylor for that. And I mean, that's a small, silly example,
that
but
penmanship is important, though.
it is, and
Yes.
I just don't have it. And it's just not going to happen, Dr. Bonner. And that's okay. And that's okay.
Oh, I've learned so many valuable lessons about life through other people. And it begins with accepting your weaknesses. Because, see, that's a strength when you know what they are.
That's right. And then you can outsource them.
Exactly.
Right? Acknowledgement.
That's right.
The old G.I. Joe cartoon was, and knowing is half the battle.
This is true.
Yeah. So, Dr. Bonner, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
So much for being so thoughtful and gracious to me. You always are, every time I see you. So I just want you to know how much I love you. And I just think the best is yet to come.
It is.
For Jonathan Herman.
And for Dr. Bonner. So
Yes.
I don't know if you know that. I'll have to tell you this. I'll show you in a second.
Okay.
But we always put hashtags on this, right? And I hashtagged you living legend, just so you know.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So there's only 2 people that I've interviewed that have gotten that hashtag. It's you and John Hood. So you are in excellent company there.
A good company.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I've had the honor to work with our former state representative, John Hood.
What a statesman, huh?
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
Quintessential statesman.
Good guy.
Yes.
So, all right. So we'll put the tags in there for the wine around the square.
Okay.
And
thank you.
and other
Great
than that,
timing.
yeah, perfect timing. And the weather's going to be perfect. And I don't think there's an MTSU home game, so we're not competing.
That's right.
Outstanding.
That's right. Now we're also celebrating True Blue Weekend soon. It's the Friday before the first home game against TSU.
That is.
So it's September 6th.
That's next
around
week,
the
right?
square. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the Main Street organization. I'm on the board of directors with Main Street.
Right.
So that's our.
I'm pumped about the TSU game.
It's a partnership with MTSU. So thanks to Andrew Ottman in marketing and communication, we'll have the cheerleaders there, and Lightning will be there, and our athletic director will give us a pep talk.
I love it. I can't wait. Go Blue.
Okay, go Blue.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Bonner.
Thank
I appreciate
you
very much.
Okay.